then it's not showing the ingredients. My parents used to like drinking soup, but nowadays they look at the ingredients and all that they want to do is to pick out the various ingredients that they see, because sometimes they call it dirt. It's not only parents. We know that children, whenever they see their vegetables, in whatever they are eating, they are going to get very picky. But today I'm going to show you the step-by-step process to prepare a beef soup that when you are drinking it, all that you see is soup and beef, nothing else. You're not going to be able to see the ingredients. So that will be an answer to a question that some of you have raised, especially those of you who are caregivers like me. Due to passage of time, you find that our parents are becoming very interesting in new ways, like something that they used to like to eat, like vegetables, tomatoes, or onions. Sometimes now they don't want to notice those items in their food. Yet those are the items that come with nutrients that they need. Those are the ingredients that give the food a taste. And surprisingly, some of them will see onions in their vegetables or onions in their other food items, but not in soup. Yet they like to take soup. So I'm speaking from experience. Some of you know, if you are a return viewer, I'm Eileen from the Heritage Homesteads, and I usually come here to share information based on experience, because I'm a caregiver. I've been a caregiver to an elderly parent in person and also from a distance. So I usually come here to share experience-based information. That's why today I've come to answer a question that some of us encounter. If your parents like to drink soup, even if they don't like to drink soup, but they drink soup. And for some of us, depending on which part of the world you're joining me from, some of you are now in the cold season. That's winter, a time when we like to drink something hot. And usually for me, it used to be that something hot needs to be delicious and filled with nutrients. So I usually pick soup over tea or coffee. And even for people from the southern hemisphere, from the tropics, like I'm recording this from Kenya, and we are supposed to be in the dry season because this is February, but it started raining in some parts of the country, including my home. And usually when we see rain, we are like, the cold season is here. And when the cold season approaches, we like to sit down with a bowl of soup and keep the cold away. So without further ado, welcome, so that we go through the process of preparing this nutrient-filled and delicious beef soup. So before I take you to the side of the stove, I'll just like to give you a very quick tour of the ingredients that I have here. So these are bones for the soup. We prefer to use the bony part of the meat because it comes with a lot of nutrients, including bone marrow. So that's what I have here. So these are bones that are sold this way for soup. And then next I have, these are fresh tomatoes that I have chopped, and this is beetroot, fresh also, that I've already chopped. Then the other ingredients, this one I know most of you know it, these are bulb onions. when you are preparing soup, it's good to add enough. So I used 2 of the bulb onions. And here I have parsley, dania for those of you coming from Kenya. And today we are not going to delay adding the parsley to later on. Instead, you're going to see how we are going to add in all the ingredients. And I have diced carrots. You can chop them in any way because, as I mentioned, at the end of the cooking, you're not going to be able to see any of these ingredients. You're just going to see nice, colorful beef soup. So all that you're going to see is a smooth blend of soup and the beef together with the bones. That's all that you're going to see. So it does not really matter how you chop the ingredients, it's how you like to do it. So those are carrots. Here I have yellow bell peppers. Next I have red bell peppers. I have the green ones here. And right here I have fresh turmeric. I've chopped it. Next to turmeric I have ginger, also fresh. I have garlic, also fresh. And then right here, trying to hide the red and the green, those are cayenne pepper. So cayenne pepper, the red one I got from outside a few minutes before chopping it, so it's very, very fresh. And the only other ingredient I have not shown you is salt, which we are going to add to give our soup a nice taste. And I'm also going to add a pinch of black pepper because of the turmeric, because it's recommended that every time when you use turmeric, it's good to add black pepper to help it break down. You don't have to put where I have put, like on top of the turmeric. It's just that that way I don't forget to add it. So yeah, the remaining ingredient is salt, which I'm going to add once we start cooking. So now we are going to shift to the cooking area, that's to the stove, and start cooking. I've just switched on the source of fire, and as you can see, our cooking pot is totally empty, waiting for us to start preparing the soup. And of course, the other ingredient I've not shown you is water, which we are going to add as we move on adding the other ingredients. Let me get the water. Okay, so I have the water nearby, and so that we don't burn our cooking pot, I'm going to start cooking. And I've already washed the beef, so it's ready for us to start cooking. I always prefer to start with the beef, so that being the main ingredient, it can get there and start warming up and waiting for the other ingredients. So I'll give our beef some 3 to 4 minutes just to warm up before I start adding the other ingredients. And this is because that's my style, that's how I prefer to do it. And so for you, whenever it's cold, what do you prefer to take, and especially for your elderly parents? And I keep on mentioning elderly parents because that's what we are all about at the Heritage Homesteads. Because within the homestead, we are taking care of an elderly parent, that's our elderly mom. And that's where my motivation to come and share with you, that's where the motivation started from. Because I was like, oh, I'm learning so much about elder care that I would like to share with somebody out there who could be starting or who could be struggling providing care to their elderly parents or even grandparents or any loved one. So I come here to share information on how we are providing care that we call dignified elder care. So with that, we incorporate a lot of cultural practices because I'm in my midlife, and when I talk about our elderly parent, that means those are people who are in their 70s, 80s, 90s, and some of them over 100. So they were brought up in a different cultural setup. So we incorporate their practices into the care because we don't want to shock mom, by being like, oh, this is how things are supposed to be done. Because if you put yourself, especially if you're in your midlife, if you put yourself in the shoes of the current generation, millennials, sometimes when we look at their way of life, you are like, oh my goodness, what are they doing? So usually I step back, put myself in such a situation, and I'm like, oh, I don't want to shock mom, with my modern practices, way of life. So we incorporate a lot of cultural practices. And when we talk about cultural practices, it also comes to food. What type of food are we serving her? So that's why sometimes I come here to share recipes for elderly parents. And also when we are talking about food, especially indigenous foods, then we are like, which is the best way or place to get the foods? So that's why if you check in my channel, I also share information on how we are growing the food. So those are the kind of information that I come to share here. And of course, what you find is that once we are seated at the family table, enjoying the food, or just resting or walking around with mom, because physical exercise is very important as people age. You could be wondering, what do we talk about? How do we pass time? We pass time through storytelling. So we tell a lot of stories. Sorry, I just dropped my microphone. I'll pick another one and check on that one later on. Yeah, so we talk a lot of stories, and I try to ask questions in relation to our family history, our family stories. And after that, I document the stories from mom because she has a lot of information, a lot of wisdom, a lot of stories that she shares. So that's the other activity that we do within the homestead. We document our family stories, family heritage, which relates to food, relates to elder care, food in the form of recipes or growing the food, and also elder care because, taking care of an elder, many a time they will be like, oh, for us, this is how we did it for our parents or our grandparents. So I think the minutes have passed. We are not not letting the beef to dry too much or to cook too much. I just discovered that the cooking pot is getting hot. So after that, I'm going to start adding the various ingredients that we are going to use. I'm adding a little bit of water so that as I drop in the other ingredients, they have somewhere to land. You know, they are not getting onto the cooking pot and sticking below. So in case you would like to see how the beef is coming along, nothing much, not a lot of change. We are going to see the main change over time. So next I'll add the various ingredients. Usually I don't have a formula on how I add these, but the only thing that I consider is which one is closest to me, or usually when I cook, which one do I put first before the other, but there is no formula. For example, usually when I'm cooking or frying food, I start with onion and salt. So that's what I'm going to add. I know some of you could be wondering how much salt. It depends on how much soup you're going to prepare and how much beef and how big your cooking pot is. But for me, because I prepare this beef soup every week, like it's a weekly ritual for us, I now have a very good idea on the amount of ingredients to add. So I've added the onions and just trying to mix it with the beef. Not so much because more mixing is going to occur as the food cooks. And then the next item that I'm going to add are the carrots. This is a personal bias because in my mind I'm like, oh, the carrots need more time to cook. But as you're going to see, as we prepare the soup, we don't need, how do I say, all the ingredients. Next I'm adding beetroot. Yeah, what I was saying is that all the ingredients will have enough time to cook, so it does not really matter which one you put in first or which one you put in last. Maybe the only thing that you need to consider is your cooking pot big enough to take in all the ingredients? So that's all that you need to think about. So I've added onions, I've added the diced carrots, and I've added beetroot. Next, I'm going to add the bell peppers. So there are the orange ones, yeah. Next, I'm going to add the red ones, green ones. Oh, such nice colors. Guys, this is why I love nature. This is why I like being out, you know, be it within our homestead or even in cities, in towns, but this is why I like preparing food, because in the kitchen I get a chance to try so many things and also to admire the colors, what I call colors of nature. So next I'm going to add the cayenne pepper, and I have the red and green cayenne pepper. There we go, followed by turmeric. and I had added some black pepper on top of the turmeric. And as I said, I added that so that I don't forget to add the black pepper. It has happened before, and usually what we say is that once bitten, twice shy, or as we say in Kiswahili, kupotea njia ndio kujua njia. So going through experience is the best teacher. After I forgot, I decided in the past, after I forgot a number of times to add black pepper, I decided that I'll be adding it on top of the turmeric so that way I don't forget. And as always, those of you who know me, I'm all about sustainability. I'm all about not wasting especially good food. So what I'm going to do, that's water which I added to the plate to be able to get out all the ingredients. Okay. So next I'm going to add our chopped tomatoes. Oh, tomatoes are almost last. But no worries, because at the end of the day, all the ingredients are going to cook together, mix together into one nice, smooth blend. As I promised, at the end of the cooking, when our soup will be ready, you'll not be able to see a single tomato, a single onion, or bell pepper. You know, all that you're going to see is the soup and the bones. That's the bones which have some flesh, some beef on them. So that's what you're going to see at the end of our soup preparation. And as I said, we are not going to wait and add the parsley, that's the dania. We are not going to wait to add it last. We usually do in the other dishes where we add it last, parsley, to be able to maximize on the flavor. Today we are not going to wait for that. We are going to add it in with the rest of the ingredients. Oh guys, I can already let me not start making you salivate, because we are quite far from having our soup ready. So adding more water, because we need it and we are going to need more. This is just to get it started, because we are preparing soup which is going to fill this cooking pot. It means that I'm going to add more water as we continue with the cooking. So what are your thoughts? For you, how do you prepare soup? And what type of soup do you like to take? For me, I love preparing beef soup. And a few times I have tried vegetable soup, but I'm not an expert on that yet. So if you are one of the people who prepare vegetable soup, you know, like a no-brainer, please share your recipe down there so that I can learn. Sometimes what happens is that if you share a recipe, challenge me and I'll get the ingredients and prepare the dish. And to prepare the dish, I'll have to come here and share the process with all of you. So if you have a vegetable recipe, or even if it's a meat recipe, it can be chicken, it can be fish, whatever that you like to prepare your soup with, just share that, and I'll try it out. So as you can see, I've added in all the ingredients. I forgot to count. How many did you count? Maybe I can name them and then you count and comment below by saying the number. So we have onions, we have tomatoes, we have beetroot, 3 colors of cayenne pepper, so we can count them as 3 different ones because there is the orange, the green, and the red. And then we have turmeric, ginger, garlic, cayenne pepper also green and red. Did I count the onion? And then black pepper and salt. How many items have you counted? I've been using my one hand and I think I've counted 19 ingredients. Correct me if I counted any twice. So what we are going to do is that I'm not going to hold you here for the next 1 hour or 1 hour 20 minutes that our soup is going to take to be ready. So I've mixed everything, all the ingredients together in the cooking pot. The heat is on. Now I'm going to cover the soup and let the ingredients cook together with the beef and blend into a yummy soup. I'm yet to find a name for this soup. So what do you think? What name should we give it? So I'm going to cover our soup, our beef bone soup, and let it cook for the next 1 hour. After that, I'll come back and show you what I'm talking about, so that if you are one of the lucky people who are providing care to your elderly parents or grandparents or a loved one, and sometimes they are like, oh, I would like to drink soup, but I don't like seeing the various ingredients in my bowl, then you're going to see our soup and you can borrow the idea and prepare that for your loved one. So without keeping you here, as I said, my name is Eileen. I love to cook. I love to provide care to our elderly parents. And I love, the various activities that take place within our homestead. So if you would like to continue coming along and learning with me, all that you need to do is to click that like button, subscribe, and even the bell button so that it alerts you every time I record. Otherwise, for now, it's a goodbye. See you after 1 hour when we are going to come back and see what we have. As you can see, it started cooking, but we need to give it a lot of time because we want that beef to cook, and we want the ingredients to break down and blend into a very yummy soup. So for now, it's a goodbye, and see you after 1 hour. Bye-bye.